A doctor who's only 16? Well, that's the premise behind Doogie Kameāloha, MD, a new series that takes Doogie Howser, MD, and makes it relevant for a new generation. Before the series premieres this month, we learned the details from the show's executive producer, Kourtney Kang. Kourtney, you might have pulled off the biggest scam in the business that you were able to get a show in Hawaii. How did that happen?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, when we first started conceiving this, I had the idea of I wanted to do a show that was sort of like my real life family. My dad is, I was born in Hawaii. My dad is a local boy. He's a Korean guy. My mom is an Irish Catholic lady from Pennsylvania. And I wanted to do a show that was like my family. And I love the idea of setting it in Hawaii. And, as we went on, the Hawaii became much more a character in it almost. We wanted to delve more into the culture and all of those things. And Hawaii just became really baked into it. And so when it was time to shoot it, the only place we could do it was Hawaii. So that's how you do it.
That's perfect. I notice that you drop in a lot of phrases. I know some of the gestures that people do. If you've been there, you can recognize the Hawaiian aspect of the whole thing. But the Hawaiian diseases, this is one that was new to me. I didn't know that you could get something from being on a surfboard. Are there a number of those things that you could use, or was just like the first one and that was it?
No, there's definitely interesting things like that we can delve into. That was something, yes, that was new to all of us. Yeah, and so that's one of the things that we're really excited to do is sort of tell these stories that are very Hawaii specific. The episode you're referring to, that specific thing is something that happens mostly in Hawaii. And so having stories like that with this medical stories that can only take place there is something exciting that only our show can do.
How common are young doctors? Are there I remember when Doogie Howser started and you go, is there anybody that ever did this? But are there ones who are young like that?
I think not quite that young. I think you will sometimes have folks who, have become doctors by like 21, 22, but I think 16, I think there might be one or two instances of it, but certainly is very rare.
And how do you deal with the age thing where she really wants to be friends with people her age, but they don't really have the same things in common. And then she's got to be this whole other personality. How difficult is that to write?
The way that I look at it is that she is very much like all of us, that we're all sort of coming of age. I'm a mom, I have 3 kids. Sometimes in an adult world, I'm like, really? Like I'm supposed to know, especially in a pandemic, like I'm supposed to know what to do. I really just want someone to come and take care of me. And so I think that position she's in is very universal, that she wants to be taken seriously. She's a doctor. She wants the respect, but she also wants someone to take care of her and wants her parents to just sort of do things for her. And she's figuring it all out, which I think is in the original show was something that I think they did very well, that we sort of kept as our North Star, that we ultimately want her character to be somebody that adults can relate to. And I think that universal struggle of figuring out who you are, like being an adult, not feeling like an adult, is something that's very real.
You referenced Doogie Howser too at some point. Was that on? You say we've got to do this so people understand what we're about, or?
Yes, I think early on we sort of set up like, she's a real life Doogie Howser, and that's why we call her Doogie. Like it's her nickname. Like so, you just sort of get out there. That's why we call it Doogie, and we're sort of off to the races because I think when you tune in, there's a little bit of lingering as a viewer. It's like, well, why is it called Doogie? And so we sort of do the math of it for you, and then we go off and tell our story.
How difficult was it shooting this then during a pandemic?
It was challenging. It was challenging during a pandemic. There's a lot of protocols, and I know all about like testing and viral load, and I learned more about these things than I'd ever want to. It was very challenging, but it was also so rewarding. For a lot of us, this was the first time we came together as a group. We started shooting last February. And it was just so special to be able to be in an environment with other people and creating something together. And, you know, we had a team who did amazing work to keep everyone safe. We tested three times a week. Everybody was very careful to, you know, minimize going out. And so as a result, we all kind of stayed together in our little bubble. And it really created this bond among the crew and the cast that was really special. And I think a lot of it you see on screen, like it feels like this special group and you feel this love. And that's really how it felt behind the scenes as well.
Was it hard to find a Doogie, or did you have Peyton in mind all along?
You know, we had Peyton in mind, and she blew away all of our expectations. She was even better than we could have imagined. She brings so much to the character, and it was so great working with her. And as we went along, we were able to craft the role more and more to her. And she is just such a phenomenal actress. And beyond that, just such a pro. She's like a real life Doogie in that, you know, she is a 16-year-old girl in this adult world and constantly rising to the occasion. I can't say enough good things about her.
She surfs. You can't
and
go
she
wrong,
surfs.
right? You've got everything. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.